Here we are. Welcome everyone to another BGA event. So today we're welcoming Splinterland, one of our golden sponsors. So welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Pleasure to have you. And we're having Luis from the BGA team that is going to introduce us to what the BGA is, the Blockchain Game Alliance, and then we'll kick off the event with Splinterlands. So Luis, off to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Serena. And thank you all for being here. Happy New Year. Hope this year will be a lot better for all of us. Very excited about what's coming. Very excited about having Agret presenting Splinterlands today, which is a very cool game. Hope you like it and hope you all enjoy this brief presentation of the company and of the game. Serena, let's start with today with the presentation of the BGA first, and then we will move on to Agret presenting the company. What is the BGA? The BGA, or the Blockchain Game Alliance, is an organization committed to promoting blockchain within the game industry. Our goal is to spread awareness about blockchain technologies and encourage adoption by highlighting their potential to foster new ways to create, publish, play, and build strong communities around games. We're also strong advocates for diversity and more inclusivity of women in the industry. The BGA also provides an open forum for individuals and companies to share knowledge, collaborate, create common standards, establish best practices, and of course, to network. So these are some of the core activities that we usually do. Some networking, researching and reporting, representing blockchain game companies, and advocating for blockchain within the game industry. Thank you very much to all our sponsors: AMD, My Neighbor Alice, Illuvium, One Way Block, Star Atlas, Gift Games, Tevaera, V Empire, Splinterlands, Ubisoft, Saya, Fear, Gameloft, DNA Cat, Starmon, Mirror World, Dogami, Decimated, Wincom, Welcome Forge, Chain Guardians, Syndrome, Super Evil Megacorp, Cryptomon, Gathemon Gaming, Non-Fungible, Digital Entertainment Assets, GamerHash, Game Exchange, TriumphX, Drops, Cartesi, Gems, Algorand, Thesis, Anarchy, Boson, Polygon, Chromium, Nexttype, Yoshi, NFTB, Kardashian, Sushi, Contribute, Galaxy Interactive, Consensus, Polkadot, Dacoco, HackerNoon, Bitcraft, Animoca Brands, Dab Raider, Simplex, G2A, Unix, and Criterion, and Dear Capital. And well, there's a lot there. Each month there are many more, so very very happy about it. And this is our members as well. Thank you very much for being here too. Companies ranging from games and gaming companies, developer solutions, esports, press, media, and many others. So these are some of the events that we usually host: interviews with industry leaders and video game executives, collecting NFT series, women inclusive dedicated events, workshops on several thematics, new members presentations, free speaking opportunities and conferences, and BGA demo days. So without further ado, let's start with Grit, who will be presenting Splinterlands, a very cool game. Agret, the stage is yours, and thank you for being here as well.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm a big fan of the BGA, so thanks for hosting this. Thanks for putting it together, and glad to be a sponsor and glad to be promoting the organization. So what I think I'm going to do is I have my plan for today is kind of roll around three different things. The first thing I'd like to do is just give a sense of who we are and our company culture. The second thing I'd like to do is hop into a slide that's just like play to earn in general. You know, not everybody knows what this stuff is, and this thing is almost a little bit specific towards helping developers think through games that they want to build. You know, the space is still so new that it's not like, oh no, it's a competitor. It's like, no, this is a hard place. Let's go help other people and pay it forward. And then lastly, let's get into just some of like what the game is itself, and you know, not super long, just enough to go give somebody an idea of what that is. So let me share my screen here. There we go. So here's Splinterlands. So let me kind of just walk you through a bit of our company culture here. So I had when I was young, I had some very simple instructions and that is leave the world a better place than the way that you found it. So I've carried that with me. That's kind of a real deep mission of this company, is to try to make things better. And one of the first things you have to do if you want to make things better is you have to start figuring out what are the problems. And so when I looked around and really started doing the work sometime around 2012, 2014 of just trying to assess what's in the world and get a sense of it, my frustration was there's way too much war on this planet. And then on top of that, it's like everywhere you look, there's so many groups of people that are impoverished. So poverty is everywhere. And lastly, we have this like surveillance state and this kind of big brother, and all of that is frustrating to me. And it took me a while to really just like allow those different things to sink in. And then I tried to think of, what are the antidotes to those poisons? And so, if you're plagued by war, the solution is peace. And if there's poverty everywhere, the solution is prosperity. And if there's this surveillance state, it's really about, keeping us on lockdown. And so the solution is freedom. And as I tried to figure out like, hey, how do we make this thing better? How do we actually have a nicer thing? I was looking for tools that could help. And the most powerful tool that I found in my toolbox is crypto. Crypto really facilitates a lot of like international trade. And one of the things that I've noticed is that you are less likely to want to cause harm to your customer than just about anybody else in the world. Like your business partners, the people that you rely on for your income, they're people that you want to maintain peaceful relationships with. And I'd even go so far as to say you're incentivized to. So it helps you with peace. These projects that are in the crypto space, 10 years ago, this stuff barely existed, and now it's a $2 trillion industry. I mean, there's a lot there that if we want prosperity, this entire ecosystem has generated so much wealth for so many people. And then lastly, the third part of this is that surveillance state. And ultimately what I want is that freedom. And, when you own your own keys and you own your own coin, hey, you are the boss of your own finances. You make your own decisions. And then with like certain blockchain projects like social media, like Hive, all of your text and anything that you want to say is stored on blockchain servers all over the world. Nobody can shut you down. So that to me is really powerful. And crypto is basically the most powerful tool to help us get peace, prosperity, and freedom of anything I've ever witnessed. So as I started looking at that, I said, this tool is so powerful, but I don't think that people are going to come into this space just for trading and getting into really nerdy blockchain stuff. I'm sure that there are some devs that will, but as I was trying to figure out how do we get mainstream adoption into this? How do we get as many people experiencing that peace, prosperity, and freedom that comes through crypto? It wasn't going to be like trading apps and exchanges. It really has to be something like gaming, where like you go home, you're done with your day of work, you just want to sit down and have fun. But when you're doing it with crypto, you can actually own assets, and there's all kind of benefits that come with it. But to me, the main part is that gaming was the highway to get us moving. So what Splinterlands is starting to put together is an assembly line of game creation. And, that's true for the Splinterlands line of games, but also for additional games that we're going to start putting out into the ecosystem here. And that the whole idea is that we have this whole assembly line that helps us take things from ideas to actually get them implemented and working. And that's so critical because like a lot of things that happen in crypto, they raise a lot of money and they don't produce anything. So we don't want to be that guy. We want to be the guys that are like out there creating some of the best game content in the world, regardless of whether it's blockchain or not. Mm-hmm. And when we're doing our work, what we try to do is function with purpose. And so the purpose that I see comes in kind of three different stages. For us as individuals in this company, we kind of draw a circle around just ourselves, and we want to make sure that we're growing as people, that we're using new skills, and that we're having a good experience just growing in the jobs and in the work that we're doing. Then you grow another circle around you, and you include all of your colleagues, and you're like, all right, well, within this circle, I want to make sure that I'm having productive conversations. I'm with intelligent peers that I feel connected to, that we're working together, that we're in a collaborative space. And then lastly, we draw an even bigger circle, and we say, this is our community, and these are the people that we're building for. We want to make sure that we are providing them as much value as we possibly can. How do we make their lives better for having interacted with us? And so when we make our games, there's basically three things that we design around. The first one is our community. And again, like the whole principle to me is that people are the value. And as we build our games, we want to make sure that every single human that touches our game is left in a better spot because they've been here. And so how do we facilitate connections? How do we facilitate community? How do we facilitate, learning experiences so that, even if it's not just through the game, but through the interactions, you're growing as a person. And then after that, we design around the gameplay, like just making sure that the game is fun, it's repeatable, it's competitive, it's not grind to earn, but it's really like it's fun and it's thinking and it's puzzles and it's problem solving and it's speed and reactions and critical thinking. And we just want to make sure that there's lots of different options. What you're seeing are just a selection of some of the different rule sets that are in Splinterlands and how we constantly change the way that the game operates. We think that's a way to engage your user base or engage the players and make it so that like there's not, we do a trading card game. So we don't want like one all powerful card. We want it where the cards are constantly adjusting and changing in how well they work in different circumstances. And then lastly, what we want to do is design around the economy. These games are not just places where it's like some free to play dopamine hit over and over and over again. What we're doing here is we're actually making fun games and trying to get our community as engaged as possible. So this is how we have nice things. If we do all of this collectively, we'll make good games, we'll get people into crypto, they will benefit in their experience. Our employees will be happy, our community will be happy, and hopefully, we'll experience as a collective group working on this project. Everybody that touches it is hopefully going to have more peace, more prosperity, and more freedom. So that's kind of that's the ethos. I wanted to get into a bit of like, well, how do you actually build games? So this is a talk that I gave, I guess it's a month and a half ago now. I haven't given this that many times. So I feel like this is an audience that might really benefit from this, because I know that there's a lot of devs in crypto, and there's a lot of people that want to think about how do you build games. So my P2E 101 is actually not geared towards, just what is play to earn. I'll have a little bit of that in here, but really what this is how do you make games that are play to earn? Because I want the guys that are watching this to walk away not just learning about Splinterlands, but really thinking about, if gaming is the highway to get people into crypto, what can I build that's going to do it? Our business is successful, we make lots of money. If there's other businesses that are successful and make lots of money, that's a win. So I'd rather pay it forward and help you guys get into the space. So sometimes it's important to just kind of share where we are so that, when people are wondering, well, why is this Splinterlands guy saying anything to us? If this is from DApp Radar, I don't remember how many days ago this was, but, we're sitting up here at like 500,000 DAU. It's one of the most popular dApps in the world. We go back and forth with PancakeSwap as kind of the number one dApp by users on any given day. So that's, if you wanted to see my credentials, I would say it's this little chart there. Furthermore, these are a little bit older, but because these are from like October and November, I should probably update this. But for daily transactions, we do something like 4 to 6 million transactions per day. And just to put that in perspective, all of Ethereum does 1.2 million. So on any given day, we're anywhere from like 3 to 5 times as many transactions as Ethereum. For daily battles, the we do like 8 to 11 million per day. So that's a lot of activity. And then we have our daily active players. We're up to something like 500,000. So I do like to start with like a little bit of credentialing just to be like, hey, I think we have a pretty good gauge on how this stuff should work. So for the little bit of what am I going to talk about for an NFT, I am going to explain just a bit in case there's still some audience members that don't know what this is. But an NFT it stands for non-fungible token, and it means that the two things aren't exchangeable. So like you'll notice here that I have two different Cobalt miners. So like this one is from an alpha edition, and this one is from a beta edition. And you'll also notice that they have different stats, and that's actually because they're different levels. This one's only level 1, and this one's level 10. So some of these things about like the what is an NFT? If I give you a Splinterlands cards, you'll say which one, and I'll be like, oh, it's a Cobalt miner, and you'll say, well, which one? And I'll be like, oh, it's the alpha, or actually in this case, I'll say it's the beta, and you'll say, well, which one? Well, I have 2 of them, so it's one of these 2. It's not just like handing you a $20 bill. You don't ask me which $20 bill did you hand me. They're all exchangeable. But here, these cards are all unique. They all have different IDs. And anyways, that's the kind of basics. So I think of it a bit like, your houses are all NFTs. You walk down a block, each one has a unique number. They all have a unique look. And your fungible tokens are more like gasoline, where like, it doesn't matter if you put in Marathon or Exxon or Mobile, all the gas is the same. It runs in all your cars. Maybe you don't mix your diesel in the different octanes, but from what store you buy it, it doesn't really matter because this stuff is all fungible. So in a database, when you're actually trying to track this stuff for an NFT, your fungible tokens are really simple in the database. It's just like, hey Jimmy, he's got this friend token. Jimmy's got 800. Mary has 220, and Bob has 350. And that's all you really got to know. It's like there's no more information that you need for the tracking purposes other than the name or the account name or the account wallet address and how many of those tokens that they have. So that's really simple for fungible. But when you get into non-fungible tokens, like in this example, I got 3 different rocks. This one's black, this one's green, that one's black. How many white spots are on them? How many green specks? Does my rock wear sunglasses? Is there a feather bed? And then who is the owner? So like now you're just tracking a whole lot more data in your database. So, this is kind of a silly example, but hopefully it starts giving people, that are thinking about, what is an NFT? What am I actually tracking? This can live on chain, this could live off chain. But there's, it's not just who has it and how many. Now there's all these other properties associated with it. Okay. So one of the things that we do in our game that I think it makes us unique and kind of fun is the way that we, use this digital ecosystem to work with the economy, to work with our cards. And so this is the Exploding Dwarf. And when like you buy card packs in Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, like when you get the duplicates, most people just like chuck them in a shelf or something. But here you can actually combine those duplicates. And like combining duplicates doesn't make any sense in the physical world. You can't like staple your cards together to make them more powerful. Like nobody would do that. But here you can combine your duplicates together, which means that every single card that you get is important. And when we do that, we level up our cards. You can see the attack increases, the speed increases, armor and health stay the same for this particular monster. But the abilities, he keeps getting new abilities. So this is kind of some of the way that we're designing around this and how we have, these different cards at different levels. And that's sort of like one of the key components of having these non-fungible tokens and how we set up our rewards and our economy. So when people are far more familiar with free-to-play. That game's edition or that game type has been around for like a decade. And you also hear a lot about pay to win. Those are kind of frustrating terms. And what Matt, my co-founder is Matt, what Matt and I will often talk about is how frustrating Web 2.0 is. Because when you get into like free-to-play and pay to win, you can just hear these evil industry executives shouting out,
you fools, I will extract as much value from you as I can. And they're just like sucking value out of the players. It's like, how many hours can they get them to stay in that game? How much money can they extract from them every single day? Those are the metrics. And it's like, holy crap, that's actually kind of this like evil industry just pulling money and time out of people while they're on this planet. So when Matt and I kind of sit around and we try to talk about, what do we want? We're going to put as much value into the players' hands as possible. And when we do it, we use a lot of these, we think of it like staking. So I know like a lot of people will use the word investment with us, but I don't think that it's fair because like when you want to go invest in something, you give somebody money and you're like, hey dude, give me money back. That's even more a year from now. And that's investing. Investing is like this real passive thing when it's done that way, where you're like, take my money, give me more money back. I have successfully invested. But staking isn't like that. You're still the captain of your financial vessel. So like when you're staking tokens, you're still making decisions about how to use them. You're still in a part of that economy. And this, when you're like staking non-fungible tokens and you're playing them in the game, there's like a million different decisions that you're making every single day in terms of what teams you're fighting, when you're using them, what time of day you're playing, what level you're playing at, whether you're renting cards, whether you're just buying the cards and using those. It's like you're the captain of that. And so I don't know. So I don't want people to think that they just come in and they passively invest this stuff. They come in, they buy tokens, whether they're the fungible tokens like our governance token, or they come in and they get these non-fungible tokens, they use them in the game, but it's not passive in the same way that like you are staking these tokens. It is still your job to operate them and make decisions as you go. So with free to play, it's really infuriating to me because you don't have any asset ownership. There's no secondary market, so you can't sell anything. The whole damn thing is centralized. So if they don't like you, they just kick you off the platform. You like make too many snarky comments about the leadership, and they're like, all right, let's boot that dude. So money is spent as entertainment. So it's like it's just spent. The word spent it's like the worst word in English language. It's like you have taken your value and you have tossed it away. It's like going to the movies, and it's not the end of the world, like you get your entertainment back. But I just feel bad for the players, especially for the guys that like sometimes spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on free to play. That money's just like gone. And hopefully you had some fun, but the surveys I've seen show that like more than 50% of the people that spend money in free to play games later regret it. It's like, well, that's not good. Again, it's like that evil wizard is just sucking money out of you. And oftentimes these free to play games are just measuring their success by how many hours you spend in the game. So if you're spending 4 or 6 hours a day, that's a win for them. And that to me is like, well, maybe our guys could go outside sometimes. That would be good for them. So anyways, when you get into play to earn, I think it's a little bit different because now you actually have asset ownership. When you buy something in the game, the money isn't spent, it's staked. I mean, you own something. It's like buying a house. It's like buying a car. You own something. You didn't just like spend the money. Nobody said, well, I spend $5,000 on my car. You didn't like spent it. You bought something, you earned it. You I don't know, you still hold it. The spent just has that like ephemeral feeling to me where it's just gone afterwards. There is a secondary market. So like if you get fed up with us and you're like, I hate aggro, he and his stupid chops can go to hell. And whatever, that's fine. Go sell all your cards on the secondary market. There are players that are waiting for you there. So like you have the ability to leave the game, which I think is an important aspect to this. Now you get rewards for playing fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. So like you're actually making money by doing this. I've gotten emails from people that, they send me a picture of a bed and they're like, hey dude, I'm no longer sleeping on the floor. Thanks for changing my life. And then I've also had people that at the higher end that are like, I'm now a millionaire because of Splinterlands. This is incredible. Thanks for making this game and changing my life. Also, P.S. Please write tax software. So I have that whole spectrum of folks. In play to earn, because there's so much that you can earn, there's actually rental options, right? You have the ability to like buy your cards and rent them. And that's sort of like owning digital property and renting that digital property. And I can tell you, I've like rented out my house, and my house is a giant pain in the butt to rent. You have these noisy neighbors, obnoxious people, the town wants everything. You have all these utility bills, mice run through your house every now and then. Like, it's just a pain in the butt. Whereas like all the digital stuff is so easy. It's actually decentralized, so it's far harder to kick somebody out. Not impossible, but far harder to do it. And then and money is staked for the right to earn. So this is compared to just spent. I spent it and now it's gone. No. You staked it and now it's earning money for you. Like, you're putting your money to work while you're getting entertainment. It's such a rare combination. And just to kind of sum up this picture, I keep thinking about this dude that's like, he's sitting there, he bought a $60 game, he plays it for 3 months, and at the end of that, he has exactly zero that he has to show for it. And it's the opposite with the play to earn and crypto gaming. Because with what we're doing, you have the, you can play anytime, trade anytime, and earn every win. That's like the Splinterlands value. And that's not just specific to us. That's really this industry. The industry allows you, because we're a digital game, you can play whenever you want. Because of their NFTs, you can trade whenever you want. And because it's play to earn, you can earn whenever. And that's different than like the physical games where you have to be physically present to play. You have to be physically present to trade, which means you can only trade when the stores are open, and nobody earns except for like a dozen professional players. And that's different than the digital games, because there you can play anytime, but there's still no trading, and there's still not really like, there's like a handful of professional players that make money, but most everybody else does not. So it's really just this category of blockchain games where you can get that play anytime, trade anytime, and earn every win. So, it took us a while to kind of get off the ground. And this chart ends in October of last year. So I should probably update this a little bit more. But, like, we've had a pretty good run over the last little bit here of turning something that, wasn't, that it took us a while to kind of grind it out. But, this is where we sold out of our last card edition. And then all of that value came after. So like between, I don't know, June and October, we pumped something like $260 million worth of value, not into the game and the corporation. We pumped that into the players and the community. I mean, that's a crap ton of value creation for those folks. So as I think through, what have we done for the players? How have we added value for them? How have we helped them? I mean, this one chart shows me that, the players that were staking assets here and playing with them, in addition to earning with them, they were also getting asset appreciation of, over 200 million. Like that's pretty incredible. So anyways, when we're making these games, I mentioned this briefly on the first kind of culture slide, but we try to make our games with 3 different categories in mind. We want to build things for the community. We want to make sure that the game mechanics are awesome, and we try to build around an economy that makes sense. So when we're talking about this for the community, if you're out there and you're like, I want to start a game, these are some of the things that I would encourage you to do to get it off the ground. First off, start a Discord. And that could be like a Telegram group too, but you need like a hub where you can pull people into. And if you use Discord, there's already so many other people on Discord that are gamers that you can pull them into it. And you have to get people into it. So the way that you do that is you kind of get your Twitter up and running. Maybe you use Hive and you use Medium and you use Twitch and you go to YouTube and you like get on all of these different platforms. And what you do is you point them back to that Discord, to your community. Because if you like get somebody to come to your website, that's not all that sticky. They'll come to your website and they'll never come back. But if you get them to join your community and like start making friends and meet people and hanging out, like they'll never leave, because it's so hard to find people that have that kind of common set of interests. So you gotta engage your hardcore players daily. So somehow you have to make sure that the people that are spending money and spending time and like give a lot of thought and care to the product or the game or the project that you're working on, you are constantly interacting with them, constantly getting feedback. And when I first started, I was just doing like answering questions all day long, and it eventually got to be too much. So I moved over to a weekly AMA format, and I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I just think it's awesome because like now I'm not getting questions 24/7. I get hammered with questions during the AMA, but I'd rather keep it all isolated to that than trying to go answer. Our community is like hundreds of thousands of people. It's hard to answer all of them around the clock. So you just punt it all to the AMA and talk to the folks then. Now, when you're making the game, this is like really, I can't believe I even have to say this out loud, but your game has to be fun. So like, it's amazing that even little things like just cow clicker, I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, or cookie clicker, you can just click the thing. Somehow that was fun, but those things kind of, they fade out pretty quickly. So if you want your game to have some longevity to it, you can't have a dumb game loop. So, if you're not sitting there being like feeling that internal need to play again, then you missed it. So unfun games can be hits, but they're going to struggle over time. And if you're doing play to earn, that means that like you're really risking a lot of other people's money. Yeah, maybe you'll make money, but you're going to do it at the expense of your players. That sounds terrible to me. And it's going to be hard to build something bigger and bigger over time. So when you're thinking about fun games, they're going to have a variety, replayability, and ultimately they should lead to social connections. That there should be some like kind of communal play that isn't just like necessarily against each other, but somehow your game, even if the game is highly heads up competitive, your game allows for the players to go connect and become friendly with one another. Because that's when that, like, how do you ever leave? Like you can leave my game because there's better ways to have fun. You can leave my game because there's better ways to earn, but you can't ever find Matt. You can't ever find that human anywhere else. They are here. So if you want the stickiest adoptions in the world, you got to go make games that help build social connections between the players. All right. So now when we get into like the buckets of actually making the play to earn game for the economy, you need rewards. Those have to be some combination of fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. And I would highly suggest that it's competitive in terms of how they earn them. If you're just handing this stuff out, you're going to kill your value. So you gotta go make it competitive to earn. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from doing this is that if there's ever the biggest exploit that you can have in the game is letting people earn things that have value in your game without putting any money into it. There are way too many ways to exploit that. You have to force the players to own something, stake something before that they're able to start pulling rewards from it. That's out of all of my economic things, that would be my number one takeaway. And then as your game grows, the number of people will grow, and the number of people that just say, hey, give me money, make it easier, give me money, will grow. But if you do that, you're going to reduce the value of the assets in the game. So you gotta like hold the line and toe the line of like, yes, you need some ways for people to be able to earn, but this game can't just be whales handing money to minnows, because that's not sustainable either. So it's got to be competitive, and everybody from the biggest whale to the smallest minnow has to stake something to earn. Now, when I try to think through all of this, and really maybe this should even go further into the beginning, but when I think about like what is it that we want to build and how do we want to build, I kind of have two core lessons that I would impart on anybody else. People are the value, and if we help other people make money, we ourselves will make money. So if they're playing the game and they're earning, they're going to bring all their friends, and they're going to do all the work for you. They're going to be marketing, and they're going to help you grow. So the trick is to really help other people make money. And just keep in mind, every single decision that you're making, if you keep at the core that the people and the players and the employees and everybody, the people are the value, then hopefully you'll make as many good decisions as you can. And as you're trying to grow this game and be successful, and it doesn't have to be a game, it can really be any project. One of the things that we did a lot of is making partnerships. So like this is baby swap. Baby swap is kind of like a pancake swap where you're trading, farming, and mining, pooling in liquidity pools. And we worked with them for SPS. Well, every time that we do something like this, baby swap has some users, we have some users, and both kind of share them across the way. And this is how you grow. And sometimes these cost like some tokens, and sometimes they cost some money, but generally it's pretty inexpensive, and sometimes they're even free to go do these kinds of things. And we as a company had a lot more success doing partnerships with other companies than simply like paying for ads or something like that. It's really in the partnerships where they've already sort of been the people that use Baby Swap have already been sort of convinced that the guys at Baby Swap know what they're doing. So when you get like a little bit of that, when one brand is recognizing the other brand is good, it comes with like some validity to your business right off the bat. So your ability to make partnerships will get you users easier than like just some random ad on YouTube or Facebook. Now this is ridiculous because we're actually up to like $4 million or something by now of tournaments. We've given out a ton of cash. But yeah, I mean, you want to find ways to go engage your users. This is hilarious that it's still that old, and it was only a couple months ago, but we're up to like $5 million awarded just through this one stream. And it's not like we ourselves as a corporation are earning 5 million and handing that to players. This is all kind of that proof of victory thing where there's a reward pool and the tokens come out of that. They go to the players and the players fight over this stuff, and they earn that money. And this is one of the ways that there's nothing like having pots of cash available for players, and a couple different ways too of like ideally, there's not just one game mechanic and one way to earn tokens. The more you spread it out and the more different ways that there are to earn, the less likely it is to get centralized. Some of them should be money dependent. Some of them should be time dependent. Some of them should be skill dependent. And that way, it's not like one group of people own every single right to every single income stream in your business. Oh, this is better. Yeah. So now this is a little bit old. I guess that was when we started. So this one had the 2.2 million awarded. It's been a couple more months, so I think we're over $5 million now. But it's these tournaments tournaments and other kind of competitive ways to go distribute tokens. Now, one of the best pieces of advice I've heard is that the best time to raise money is never. So I've had mixed feelings about some of like the token sales and how you raise. I mean, I at the end of this, I would just encourage you to raise almost as little as you can. If your business is profitable, run off the profits. And if it's not profitable, you might want to consider if just like throwing piles of cash in it is going to solve the problem. So it's hard to go do this in this industry, especially because building here is hard. But if you can avoid raising money, I would encourage it. Now, one of the other things that people do, now it's all metaverse talk and different ways. But along with your game, you kind of have all these meta games that you get to do too. So like Splinterlands is building these Splinterlands where like we have a continent, it's called Pretoria. You can own land. And as you own land, you're able to farm resources, build buildings, and then use those resources to build NFTs in the game that you can use, rent, or sell. And so, as you think through your game, not only are you just going to think through your game, but you should think through some of the metas and different game modes of how you can, what other things can you sell? What other ways can you engage the players? And now this is like a little message just for the founders. This is Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, and they're the founders of Apple, and they really set the gold standard or the Bitcoin standard. What you want to do is have somebody that is more you need one dude that's kind of like outward facing and people facing, and you need somebody that's more of like the dev facing. So it's too much to do on your own. Like I could, even if I was the best developer in the world, it wouldn't matter. You don't have enough time in the day. You don't have enough ways to do all the things, to run the business, to get new customers, to manage your finances, to doing everything. You can't do it on your own. And so when you start these things, I would encourage you to start them thinking of them as a team, and get one person that sort of, I think of them as the carbon-based life form person, and one person for the silica chips. And if you have that covered, that's your starting point, and should be able to help you quite a bit. And I think if you can do all these things, this is how we're going to avoid the dumpster fires. It's a lot to kind of juggle and manage at the same time. But it's you have to do a lot when you're in crypto. When I talk to some of the free-to-play game companies, they'll tell me, I'll ask them, how many servers does your game run on? And they'll say 1. And I'm like, oh, that's quaint. Mine runs on 27. So when we're interoperable on Steam, Hive, Tron, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and Wax, that's 6 different sets of servers or more just right there that we are running to be interoperable. So, my thought is this stuff is hard, and these are meant to be some of the high level lessons that I learned over the last 4 years doing this, and hopefully that's helpful to the next crop of guys saying, we're here to build the next biggest play to earn games out there. So overall, provide rewards, grow your community, make sure your game is replayable. The more that you can make it mobile friendly, that's a large audience you can get. Try to get this so that it's multilingual. You want to expand your team. Don't wait too long for that, because you'll get overwhelmed pretty quickly. Build your sales and activity and watch your spend. And that's all you got to do. Other than that, this whole stuff is easy. It's just all of that work has to be done. So I'm running out of time here. So I thought I'd just very, very quickly show you our game. So this is Splinterlands. You would typically start by getting some cards. So we have our next card edition that goes live. Actually, we're in our 6th card edition now. We've been doing a bunch of pre-sales, but the actual sale starts in 3 days. So this is our 6th edition. We've been here for 4 years. We put out basically one primary edition per year, one big event, and then we have a bunch of the smaller card sales that follow that. Then once you buy packs, you come in and you can open a pack. So here I'll go take one of my Chaos Legion packs. I'll put it in, and this is like a 6-second delay because we're actually pinging the blockchain to go figure out what cards ought to be in this. But these are this is my pack. Oh, look, I got a gold foil card. So I got a little gold foil Shadow Snitch. These are a little bit more rare. But now that I get my cards, I can either sell them on the market and participate that way. We've had 58,000 sales just today, all peer-to-peer. The Chaos Legion cards are pretty affordable right now because it's at the beginning of edition. So this is in some ways the best time to hop in. And if you just want to play and you don't have that much money to spend, I would tell you just pick up some cards on the market. And if you're a whale and you have cash to burn and you're looking for some new project to get into, then I would tell you, okay, come hop in and actually buy a bunch of packs. But for the new players, start with inexpensive things. There's no need to rush in. We've been here for 4 years. We're going to keep being here. Just relax, come in and enjoy your way. Here are some of the cards that are part of it. Now you can go manage your collection, and it's stuff like this where you can come in and combine your cards, and this gets me up to a level 7. But you manage your collection, and then after you're managing your collection, you can come in and you can battle. So here, one of the things that we do, I share that we change the rules every time. So this rule set is Stampede, 26 mana cap, and then these are the 4 teams you can spend. And because I won, I got 66 dark energy crystals. Now in this battle, it was different. This was everybody has blast, and this is melee mayhem. It's an unlimited mana cap, and only these 3 teams are allowed. And then it changes every single time. And so that's kind of what keeps this game fun and fresh, is that there's never one card that's like the must-have, all end all be all. You got to switch it up a bunch. So here's the there's a season, and every 2 weeks there's a new season. And here's our events. So yeah, like I said, we're over $5 million now that we've awarded in tournament prizes. Some people like come in, like we're the tournaments that are made by the game or the SPS tournaments, but you can see all these other people are actually putting tournaments in here because they want attention. They're selling products or they're doing something. So if you have a project and you want the attention of Splinterlands players, you can kind of hop into this. And then lastly, we built guilds into this. So there's you can hang out. There's a tavern. You can talk to your buddies and what you're going to do. There's something like 1,000 different guilds that have been built in the game already. I don't even remember what we're at now. Let me fly down to the bottom here, but I think we're up at like 1,500 or something. Yeah, 1,300. So I got 1,300 guilds or so, and then we have a couple different in-game currencies. You have your like dark energy crystals. These are more like a stable coin. And then you have a governance token. And there's like a whole bunch of these, the ways that you can claim it. So, there's an airdrop that's going on. So we have, actually, we're almost halfway through the airdrop. It's a year-long airdrop that we've been doing. So there's about half a year left of this. So if you buy assets and hold them, you'll get an airdrop. And then there's staking rewards. So if you stake the airdrop, you can actually get additional rewards just for staking it. So there's like a whole bunch of different layers to this economy, layers to this game, and layers to what we're doing. And I thought that by sharing a bit of how we built our company culture, sharing a bit of our methodology of what are play to earn games and what do we care about and what are we building, and then just showing you some of the rich complexity that we built into this game, that hopefully that's a pretty good understanding for the BGA to see what we're up to, see what we built, see who we are, and hopefully that's a strong experience. So thank you for this opportunity. Thanks for letting me come on, and hopefully this presentation helps inspire the next generation of play to earn game developers.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Agrid, for sharing it with us. Definitely an amazing game. And as Meta Jesus is saying, a huge game for sure. Thank you very much for this crash course, actually, on how to get started. If you're a founder, if you're thinking about starting a play to earn games, definitely very, very useful and very helpful to keep an eye on people who have this all this experience actually creating something, and not only something, but something that became so big and so relevant to the ecosystem. So on that note, there are some questions. I have some questions as well, but there are some questions from the audience. So let's address them first, if you want to. We have a question here from Flavian. So I love the game and the summoners. Any desire to create specific stories around these heroes?
Yeah, so we have a whole narrative team, and the narrative team builds. We're building a variety of different stories around them. I mean, we have the lore that's built into the game, and we also have like short stories, kind of 20-minute audio that we're doing. And I'm trying to get into comics and trying to get into like short videos on these guys too. So I know that the lore is incredibly important, and we're working on it.
Awesome. And also, any upcoming land sales?
So we did our land sale, and I don't want to say we'll never do one again, but we want the cards to be accessible. So every single year we're going to do a new pack of cards, but we want our land to be scarce. So if we launch another game or there's some big thing, then yeah, there'll be some land that's available. But we sold 150,000 plots of land, and there's some games that you like look around and they're constantly putting out more land or more product or more stuff. And we try not to do that. It's like once a year, here's your new packs, and here's your, we sold this land and we're keeping it scarce. So it's not all, there's not enough for everybody. Please push and shove. That's part of the mantra over here.
Yeah. Okay. And also a different kind of question. What's your favorite game of all time, excluding Splinterlands?
I got a soft spot on my heart for Zelda, and I play a lot of StarCraft too. Like Zelda, I was a kid. I got some like week-long illness, and I just spent the entire week playing Zelda. So I got some pretty fond memories of being miserable, but also living through it. And then StarCraft is sort of my go-to when I'm like, oh God, my brain is fried. I got to just do this.
Awesome. Well, I'm a Zelda lover as well. So I got a question from me. Well, I have a question for you. So you amassed a large community, and mainly because of all these things that you're saying, all these inputs that you already have on how to grow communities. So how has been the journey? And I'm looking at Discord at this time. Several thousands of people are there. The community is very active for sure. So tell us a little bit about this, and I would like to know a little bit more about the categories in Discord as well.
Yeah, I'm running out of time, so I think this will have to be my last question. But
Sure.
so the whole thing is that you got to build your community, and you got to build it early. I mean, you can't just like hope that this stuff comes. We've been working on this for 3.5 years. We're now up to 92,000 Discord users. It is a very active group, and a lot of that comes from having active moderators, active people, but also just communicating with them. Like a lot of the rules of how our game operates have actually come from players. Rule sets. If you look at the cards in the game, we have our legendary summoners. Like more of the cards that are legendary summoners have been, users that paid for the right to get into the game than not. So like we have all these players that have created their own characters and put them in the game, and it's like stuff like that where it's like, this isn't just us and we're pushing it on you. We break that fourth wall. We talk to our players. We ask them what they want. We negotiate with them. We're like, trying to find the balance of what we can build, what we can't, the order of operations. There's like, we have a feedback.splinterlands.com, which is like a way that players can vote on what like life improvements they want next. And that way, the things that are the biggest issues for them get addressed first. And that it's not just us kind of guessing, well, what do we think that they want? It's them telling us, hey, go take some of your dudes and go build this. And we do. So it's not just talking to them. If all you're doing is talking to your users, go use Twitter. But if you want to get like actual engagement and talk to your players and take their ideas and hear from them directly, then you build a big Discord, you interact with it, and you pour as many people into it. And a lot of it's going to be negative. You just got to, that's the nature of this beast. There's going to be a lot of negativity, but understand that those are not just these are different people than passive fans. They own hundreds, thousands, and possibly even millions of dollars of your assets. If they feel something, they're not just going to hold back. They're going to freaking ram it down your throat if you're one of the game devs. So you just got to be emotionally prepared for that, because it's hard. But that's what we kind of owe them, that, right? Like they buy our assets, they participate, they pay for us to have nice things, and I don't know. Hopefully people honor that and work with them in terms of, not just giving them everything they want, but listening to them, listening to their concerns, and making sure that the game is balanced and fair.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, as you were saying, we ran out of time. Thank you very much, Agret, for being here, and Serena, and everyone else for being here as well. Thank you very much again to all our sponsors, members, and all the community that we're building. Hope to see you next week. We're having an event on a panel on the metaverse, so hopefully you can join us well, same time on Friday. Hope to see you there, and yeah, thank you very much, and hope we have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I love
guys.
the motivations. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. See you again next week.
Bye.